about homeschooling. But first, we're going to define what is homeschooling. So, homeschooling or education of children at home becomes a lifestyle for families who choose this teaching method. It is an educational option in which parents decide to educate their children outside of both public and private educational system or institutions. There are many opinions about this controversial topic, both by defenders and detractors of this type of teaching. Detractors argue that homeschooling could isolate the child, hindering his social development and subsequent the adaptation to real life, and they question the quality of home teaching. However, there are many studies in the United States of adults who were homeschooled children, and they show that their social development is the same as that of any other child. But why do parents decide to educate children at home? The reasons are almost always related to the moral or personal issues. This is something that they don't like about the educational system. Many parents think that school is very punishing and there is a lot of preference with some children. Also, because many teachers think that they are experts and feel superior to others. Children don't have privacy, and many times, if you have good grades, you are a good person or a good student. Otherwise, they aren't or you aren't. I think one of the biggest difficulties is that the groups are very large and the children suffer a lot from bullying by the teachers or classmates. The educational system is one of the most important institutions in our society. Many people believe that it is the only possible way in which a person can receive a good education. However, there are many families that decide to educate their children at home. I think the problem is not the school. The problem is that many times there are many indifferent teachers. Homeschooling is a valid alternative as any other, but it can have pros and cons. For that reason, I will talk about advantages and disadvantages. First, advantages. It adapts better to the child's learning process and makes him or her more responsible for it. This is because it adapts to the needs of each student and it is provided with better attention, allowing it to play a more active role in its educational process. Here, children are free from accumulation of homework, quizzes, because the child only focuses on the acquisition of knowledge and they are in a very comfortable environment at home. Also, the materials are only for them. They don't have to share the workbook with other students, with other classmates, and or want to be able to have a chair where we can sit, like us when we're at school, right? It is a personalized education. Yeah, because they teach them autonomy, independence, and being able to solve problems on their own. Children reach maturity at an early age. It caters to the specific needs of each student because all the attention is for a single student and it eliminates the pressure to which they are subjected to the obligation to achieve in a specific time the school objectives such as homework or quizzes. Here encourages the construction of learning. There is a significant learning because they are able to learn at their own pace and their teacher pays attention to their needs. Before choosing this type of teaching, it is good to think about the problems that may exist or the inconveniences that arise this problem. Disadvantages. The family becomes the educational institution. This means that although the variability of schedules is also a problem because many parents work almost all the day. And in this case, the necessary time is not dedicated to the child. Well, many times it is difficult for parents to have 100% of the attention to the child because when they return to their house from work, they also have another responsibilities to do at home. Imagine that even when children study in a school, the parents don't help them to do homework or pay attention to them. So now imagine how serious it will be to have all the responsibility of being a teacher at home and parent too. It is important to ensure that the different members of the family participate in the child's education so that the child can have different points of view, different opinions, which is not always possible because we deprive the children or the child of other experiences of way of thinking. Here, we may be tempted to indoctrinate the child with our subjective opinions because the child will learn what they are being taught. And at home, they don't have alternatives to discuss with someone else what they have learned or have different perspectives on what they learn. On the other hand, at school, there is an interaction between the teacher and the student, and the teacher or other teachers, sorry, and they also have the opportunity to interact with classmates and other people. Here, collaborative sports and recreational activities are forgotten because even if you have the space, it is not the same because the child feels bored because only he or she does everything. While at the school, among the peers, they support each other and also fosters friendship with the rest of people. Homeschooling is so much more than sitting around the table with open books. I don't know if you think the same, but I think that this type of teaching is weird and boring because every day being in the same place, just seeing the same people, our parents, right? On the other hand, at school, you can interact with other people, for example, teacher, classmates, or um, with the society in general. So, as a conclusion, I think that it depends on the perspective of each person and the reasons why parents don't want their children to go to school. So, I think it depends of each perspective. So, those are my references and thanks for your attention.